This is the Stop Time Podcast. I'm your host, Lisa Hopkins, and I'm here to engage you in thought-provoking, motivational conversations around practicing the art of living in the moment. I'm a certified life coach, and I'm excited to dig deep and offer insights into embracing who we are and where we are at. My next guest, well, this one's really special. My next guest is someone I've known since our days in the dance program at York University in 1987. A true powerhouse then and now in the performing arts. Born and raised in Singapore, she is the founder and artistic director of Princess Productions, home to Tiger Princess Dance Projects and the acclaimed Dance Made in Canada Fête au Canada Festival. Her work has toured globally to places like Ireland, Italy, Australia, and China, featuring collaborations with renowned choreographers. Her dedication extends beyond the stage. She's a certified open source forms and Ashtanga yoga teacher, and through her arts education program, Swallowing Clouds and Moving Stories, she's empowering youth and intergenerational participants alike. Her incredible contributions have earned her prestigious awards, including the 2022 Walter Carson Prize and the Jacqueline Lemieux Award. With a career spanning choreography, education, and global impact, she is a living testament to the power of creative possibility. Please join me in welcoming my friend and my original muse, Yvonne Ng. Welcome, Yvonne.
Oh, thank you. Is that what you're gonna say? Oh my God, you wrote that. Oh wow. You make me sound more that's so not me.
That's
Oh, thank you
well,
so
it
much.
came from you. No, and listen, it's, to the listeners, it's I don't know, life goes by quickly on the one hand, on the other hand, not at all. Like when I saw you pre-show and you were gesturing, suddenly
Oh,
it's flooding back to me all
oh
the
my
things that I
God.
choreographed for you, that you danced so brilliantly, that,
Oh,
just again for the listeners, we were the original entrepreneurs. Like in Canada at the time, especially, well, at least from my perspective, in a university program, a very conservative university dance program, you don't really do stuff out of the box, right? You do what you're told. But there were three of us, Yvonne, Carrie, and
yeah.
I,
Yes.
who were like, man, we just have so much we want to do, right?
Yeah.
And
I
and
know
as I
it's
remember it,
oh
you
God.
you were like the kind of, I want to say, brains. You were the organized one.
I bought a book. I
Did
did.
you?
Don't you
Did you?
remember? I saved it. It's I think I think one of the dance organizations published it, and it's pretty much how to run a company. I bought a book.
Oh my God.
And it's got it's like a not a those big things that those big binders you can
Yeah.
get and it's got those hard rings,
Oh my
and
God.
it went from how to start a bank account, how to
Which we
hire
did.
people. Yes,
Which we
how to
did with
hire
$3. I
people.
remember. I
I
remember.
know. Yeah. How to like hire someone, definitions of roles. So that was also very helpful because we needed to know who was going to do what. Um, and then the things about boards and yeah, boards and so on and so forth. That's why we decided no boards, remember?
Yep.
Because we had homework on top of all that. It's like, no, we got to graduate too. No board. And I think we just made it like a small, like private company.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Like we were such neophytes. We just
Yes.
knew that we loved to dance. We really liked each
Yes.
other. And
Yes.
and at the time, it's interesting because if I remember correctly, at the time you proclaimed that you didn't really like to choreograph. Is that true? Do I remember that
Yeah.
correctly?
Yeah. Yeah. I really didn't want to choreograph because I wanted to dance. I liked being a muse, and exactly that. I liked being um sort of that conduit. I liked being in that person's world and understanding that world and becoming that world or interpreting that vision, and also was another way of for me it was another way of getting to know that person, right?
Mm.
And years later on, it did take me that long, but years later after, I realized why. Because I also didn't have homework. So if I did all the management stuff, which is essentially what I did,
Mm.
And I went to the studio. My homework was staying fit, training, practicing what I couldn't get right in the rehearsal, like, doing my job as a dancer and a performer, understanding what that was as the artistry of it all. And then when and then that could be on my own time, whatever that was, and in the studio and all of that. And then when I had to stop doing that and I had to turn to, like, let's organize all of the rest of the other cogs of the wheel, right? It's like that. It didn't split my brains. It actually was less tiring
Mm.
because as a choreographer, your work also extends, and this, like, it extends beyond just being in the studio,
Yeah.
right? And
Yep.
letting it mull, allowing it to simmer, allowing to prepare, being kind of ready for the next day and knowing what's going to happen next, or tuning into yourself in a different kind of way. And so it's just, we're all tuning into ourselves in different ways. But I found it was, yeah, and I didn't feel like I had anything to say at that point. Like, but I felt I could say things that I needed to say through the vision of, like, yourself,
Mm.
right? Yourself, and I think Carrie did a couple of things too,
Yep.
right? So
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
That's so
So,
cool. Hey, what did you learn about me through working with me? Because you were in basically
oh,
everything I did.
yes, I did. Yes. Uh, Well, you learn a lot about choreography, decision making, letting go, um, being inspired by the moment. Um, Obviously, you can't always know what's what the choreographer, what Lisa Hopkins is thinking, like, deep inside, but also what inspires and what the aspirations and the way they like to paint with bodies. You learn about that, but of course you learn about personalities too. That
Yeah.
you were always really warm, always really encouraging, very positive, you know, and you also able to take us. You were also able to connect us to ourselves. So we never thought that we could never do other things. Does that make sense? If
Mm.
anything, you are smart enough to tap into who we are so that we rise above ourselves.
It really means a lot to hear that. I remember feeling whenever I was in the studio is my connection with the dancer or the actor or the human, right? So it's not so surprising that here I am doing this, or working with humans, in other ways,
Yeah.
as a coach. And so when you described it, I was like, oh my gosh, it's holding space, and the conduit, or not the conduit, but the vehicle was dance. Right. Whereas now I work with people, the vehicle or the tapestry or the canvas is life, if you want.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah. And of course, bottom line is that you're a wonderful choreographer, a really great choreographer, brilliant. You always had lots of interesting, innovative ideas. Like, you were never, like, we never went in this to studio going, "Ah, I don't know if she's gonna," like, never. We never doubted you. I don't think any of us did ever doubted you. And it was always surprising ideas. And yeah, and challenging, right?
Mm.
You challenged us, but we never we never doubted that we couldn't do it either. It was always a positive thing. There was never tension. You also created an environment. You created an environment that we all were really there for each other, you know?
Yeah.
Right? And we were all different dancers. But it's a brilliant that you are able to bring us to our best selves. It's not everybody can do that.
I think it's, as you say it again, now through my lens as a coach, it's how I look at my clients, right? I see the brilliance in them that they cannot see. So I'm not trying to shape them into something that I think they can do, but rather they inspire me, just as you inspired me, right? So, you talk about my choreography, but it's like that to me, it was a synthesis, meaning it was trust. I created a safe space for you so that I too could feel safe, right? Because if we don't all feel safe, then you can't tap into whatever it is. I was never, as you know, never someone who would come in with something on paper and say, then it goes like this, and then it goes like that. But
I know, I
nor
was always surprised. It was so great. It's all in there. Yes.
it was weird, but it came out because of you guys. Like it was definitely inside of me, but it was not so structured and planned out. Sometimes it might just be a phrase or a concept or something. And it,
Yeah.
on the other hand, I wasn't depending on you to figure it out either.
It was all, you're so musical. You're so musical. I was always in awe of that. You're so musical. It didn't seem like, I have a hard time counting. I mean, not that I can't count, but I just never liked it. But you never made it seem like we always had to be so strapped to it, and yet it was very musical. Not that we always, it was never like, sorry, and I don't want to give a sense that it was not a transliteration of things, but there was a musicality to the way you choreograph, the way your choreography sat with the music or was accompanied by the music or was married to the music or, all of those things. And that was always so fun.
If you had to choose one highlight and one low light from your life journey so far, what would those be and why?
Oh, I don't know. I've never sort of had one more than another in terms of highlights. I do say, I mean, I have to say, I do feel quite fortunate, very blessed, and privileged that I've had like really wonderful opportunities to be with like yourself. Like if we had gone in a different year,
Mm,
wouldn't have met. We wouldn't have had Dance Allegro, all of the things that I think we've all become, the whole enterprising thing, probably wouldn't have been nurtured. We were
mm.
also very lucky and fortunate that when we wanted to do what we wanted to do, the department, they either were really going, I don't know if this is going to work for them, but we're going to encourage them, or we're just going to sit back and see how it all goes. But do you know what I mean? Like we were very fortunate that the department was didn't say no.
Yeah, I mean, you've had an incredible career. I mean, yeah, we had a really cool start. But look what you've done. Like, are you able to sort of acknowledge, like, tell, Yvonne and Lisa and Carrie back when we're sitting on the floor in the studio, in
Uh,
1987 or whenever that was,
yes.
um, you know, holy shit, like, look what I did. I mean, what's going on there? Like, what are you really proud of?
Oh,
I'm proud of
yeah.
you. I mean, where I'm sitting, I mean, I'm not surprised at all. I remember people always saying, oh, your friend Yvonne is doing really well in the scene in Canada. I go, yeah, I'm not surprised, you know? But what surprised you or talk to me a little bit about that journey.
It's a journey that's hard to talk about because you're still kind of on that journey.
Mm,
I I think sometimes I think it's because I'm not quite the planner. I may be like I like organizing things and making sure once certain things are decided on, I can plan, but I'm not like a long-term planner. I don't have huge expectations. People, so I am kind of curious about it now. Only now am I curious about this whole idea about you say it and you manifest it and then it becomes
mm.
the dream and the reality. I've never done that. I've never sort of sat and went, oh, I want this career for myself. I'm going to manifest it
No, you just
and
did it.
work for it. Yeah.
Me
Yeah. And,
too.
it, and
I
it's
get that. I understand. I
so,
relate to that. I get that.
yeah. Oh, okay, good. Because I always feel like an imposter because it feels like,
Yeah.
like what's it? There's a phrase like all the chant and the mantra is about, manifesting your life and your dream into reality. It's like, I just didn't. I think. I knew I love to dance. I knew I still love to dance. I know that I'm the happiest when there's creativity in
Yep.
and around and amongst my life.
Yep.
And I know that there is a lot of I'm comfortable, stable, and feel grounded when those things are there, but also that there's a sense of engagement,
Yeah.
whether it's mostly within the studio, but if if not within the studio, in and amongst the people that I have that are close to me, near and far. And the one thing that you said is also been a part of my life is that I never think that people, my friendships with people kind of peter off. I think of it as it waxing and waning.
Yeah.
On that side note, it's like I have friends that I'm still friends with friends that I've known since I was 4.
Yeah.
We're still in contact. We pick whenever we see each other, just like this. We pick up like it never, like the time never,
Yeah.
there was no time in between. And yet, I think I'm also not unrealistic in the sense that I know that we've all lived different lives and we may not have a lot in common. Like, I don't have a lot in common with some of my school friends. I know I have more in common with you. With most of my university friends, I have way more in common with, but that's no strike against my primary school, kindergarten, primary school, and secondary school friends. I've known people since primary school all the way through secondary school, 16 years, and we all went to the same. And now when we see each other, yeah, but we are all. It's not like we have hugely different values, but we probably have different values. But when I look back, I think it's just sort of my attitude towards life. But I don't have like one big like motto that says, "Oh, this is how you should live your life, and this is how it'll be." I think I always think I'm an optimistic pessimist. That's how I see my life. And I've been, yeah, work ethic, I guess. You know, I you know I do treasure the people that have been a part of my life, like yourself. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to talk about my journey, except I do feel that I I'm yeah, I'm okay to dive into things. I think maybe that's it. I've never looked back to think how come I've led the life that I've led. I think I'm good with saying yes to things. I'm pretty open to saying yes to things, and I'll dive deep. I mean, after I say yes to things, I go, "Oh God, why did I say yes?" But then I'm like, "Too late. Should have thought about it before you did that." Yeah, and then yeah, I guess it's committing as well after you say yes. So I guess I'm not sure how you would explain that, but I don't have like a leading philosophy that I kind of, or some a philosophy that I live by. Yeah, no ups that stand out the most. I guess living. Oh, you know what? Maybe is the is the fact that Canada said yes to me.
The Canada said yes to you? Yeah.
Yeah, because
Fair enough. Fair
if
enough. Yeah.
not, but
Yeah.
probably that's the biggest high, and
Well,
then
fair
yeah,
enough.
and
Yeah.
then my ex is the low, but then the low can become a high,
Yep.
and then everything else in between, I think it's us all just working at it.
No, no, but it tracks based on what I know about you because it's sort of coming back to light. This sort of you're not you're not analytical, or you don't want to be analytical. I think you probably are analytical.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's a space that you like per se to be in. You prefer just to be in it. You prefer to be trying the movement if you want, or
Yes.
in the rehearsal, as opposed to talking about being in the rehearsal or reviewing how the rehearsal went. You just like being in the rehearsal. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And it's not like I'm opposed to debriefing or prepping. I love both ends of it,
Oh yeah.
but I think the experience, that's probably why like I love movement and I feel like movement is the largest and the most important language that we have, like no
Yeah.
being in our bodies
Yep.
helps me understand who I am and my relationship to the world, and also in a way the world is, and not like the way that the world has to be right. It's not that, but it allows me to respect what's happening around in and around the world and try to have and generosity and sensitivity to
Mm.
what's happening.
But
No.
how does judgment show up for you? I'm curious, both internally and externally. Like, what's the balance there for you?
experience in life. Yeah, and I think that's also depends on the situation. Depending on the situation, whether, God, that's kind of broad, so I have to find a situation. It's really a situational sort of scenario.
But do you tend to default to judgment when you don't understand something? Most of us do, right? Most of us do. And I use judgment broadly. I'm not saying judgment like, oh, that's horrible or
Yeah.
in that kind of thing. More like
Yeah.
where we file it, right? Where we suddenly go,
Yeah.
oh gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I probably do. I probably would not always proud of that, depending on where it lives and
Yeah.
lies. And then I have to revisit it. And also, I think it's also, and it's a hard one. It's a hard one because of egos, where sometimes you have to admit to yourself that, that you've made that mistake and you should take it out and move it somewhere else, or re-examine it. But yeah, yes.
But
Um,
you probably, based on what you've told me, have a really good relationship with if things go wrong because you have experience having learned a lot from things going wrong. Like when you talked about your lowest, right? Your lowest moment, which is not often something that someone wouldn't want to think about, right? They're like, thank God it's gone. But you're able to transmute or transform that into, no, that was actually probably my biggest learning moment. And that was a big opening for me. So it would make sense that when something potentially negative comes your way, that you don't immediately recoil, but that you kind of go, okay, like you're strong in yourself, right? Because you've learned a lot.
yeah, yeah. I wish I could say I don't immediately recoil, but that's not true. I do all of that. I feel like sometimes when those things happen, I'm like the injured animal that likes to hide under the bush and take care of itself. I
Yep.
do that, but I know that that can't be permanent.
Yep.
And I know that few things. I know that I can be better than myself,
Yep.
whatever that is at that moment and that time and that year or whatever. So that it's not to always learn from, but it's the building blocks,
Yep.
right? I can't pretend that it never happened, right? It happened. So, but it's a building block. And what do I do with it? I can make that block stronger, or I can crush it and dust it, but it needs to be an act, right? So even if I crush it, it still has to, I guess it's the intention of what
Yeah.
I'm going to do with all that of that situation, the experience and the choices that I made at that time.
What lights you up? I know you from the other end, right? I know you from being my muse, but it sounds like now you've created a lot of things where you're working with other people who may or may not be your muses, or at least bringing some of your visions to light. So I'm curious to know if I were working with you, what would I expect? Would I expect what kind of environment would you provide? What kind of work do you get excited to do?
Uh, I have to lay those foundations on the folks that I danced for or danced with, including yourself. So creating the environment has I've had good experiences. I've had not so good ones, but then you learn from that of like what do you not want to create for for yourself, the conditions of the room, the conditions of the space each time. I tend to do things that scare me. I
Mm,
don't know why. And I don't mean to do that consciously. I tend to I tend to become interested in how things are interpreted through language,
mm,
not just physical, but spoken. Um, I am interested in how we are as humans individually, from where we are now, where we came from. I've come to terms with, which is part of my process as well, that I'm always rehashing my original idea. So, we always go in and go, I've got a great idea. I've never done this before. And then if you think and if I give myself a moment to contemplate it, I go, oh, wait a minute.
mm.
Yeah, I think I did that kind of in a different form, but very similar. So I've also, and then, in the past, I would just like, slap myself and like, no, let's not do that, but I've also started to learn to embrace
Yeah.
that as well as a way of learning because, maybe the way out is to keep doing it until you get out, and then lo and behold, you have a different way of thinking. I don't know. So I'm still discovering. I think mostly I feel like an imposter. But I think, I don't think I'm the only one. It's not an original thought. I think a lot of people feel that. But like I do, whenever I facilitate class or anything, I always feel like an imposter. But whenever I enter a studio and, I brought people in to work with me as dancers or other collaborators, I do feel like an imposter. There's so much to discover. Every time I think I know something, or not even know something, but barely know something, I learn something else.
Yeah.
And it always surprises me. And I'm sure you've had that too. But even as a dancer, dancing for other people, aside from even making work, is that every time you perform, or it's being performed, or the piece is being performed by others, there's you learn something else.
Yep.
Your interaction with it, your behavior in it, your performance in it. It's just kind of, it's so expansive and so multi like dimensional,
Hmm.
right? And it sounds so zany, but it is like, I always think it's possible, you know? And I believe that it is possible, and people, I know I'm not the only one, you know? So I kind of am thankful for
Mm.
that.
Mm. The imposter syndrome piece, you know, I don't think imposter syndrome is a bad thing. I think that's I think it's a sign that you're playing in a place where you're challenging yourself so that you can learn and that you can honor your values. So of course you're an imposter because you're probably doing something you haven't done before. I mean, not when you're teaching a class, but it's that same energy, right? Which is that you've never taught that class before. So I really get this sense that you were very much, and it circles beautifully into our, segues beautifully into our, you know, sounds like that's living in the moment. Living in the moment is like the tagline of the podcast, right? I mean, is that is there anything else you'd like to add about what living in the moment means to you?
I've been kind of thinking about this lately. It's so funny you brought this up, living in the moment. Um, Living in the moment is also forgiving myself when I have, like, as they would say, monkey mind, you know? And embracing that, or living in the moment is when I don't know what the heck I'm doing, and I have these self-doubts. It's allowing myself to be in those places too, because I think we are also in the place where we're selling this idea of living in the moment as if it's some magical thing. But I really think that living in the moment is what that might be. It could be very busy, or it could be very quiet. It could be really nothing. It could be a lot of fear, and 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 I know that, yeah, because maybe I'm misinterpreting, like, all the stuff that I see out there. But the whole living in the moment always seems like it has to be like this Zen, this what we call Zen. So I do this because this Zen, quiet, like this hum. But sometimes I, we have a brain. The brain doesn't stop thinking. It's such a task to keep it like quiet, and it's possible. And those moments come when all the yeah, I find that those moments come particularly in the studio when things are coming together, and there feels like this, you know, sort of, yeah, uh, alignment. Yeah, I
Mm.
don't even think it's a quiet, it's like an alignment. It just, yeah.
Mm. Yeah, I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. I mean, I agree with you. I don't think living in the moment is needs to connotate being quiet or stopping or meditating or any of
Yeah.
those things. However, I do think that because the moments are always there, and
Yes.
we're always in a
Or
moment.
in a moment. I know.
So it's not like there's some moment over there that we need to be living in. We are living in many moments, and for me, I think it's the awareness piece. I think it's
It is
the
the
gold
awareness.
is when no matter what it is, whether it's good, bad, ugly, or otherwise, or quiet or loud or whatever, that you're aware that that's where you are and that's only where you are, and that's okay. There's no judgment, but it's just living in the moment. It just makes everything richer. I mean, it might make a fight louder, or it might make the negative stronger. But the awareness piece allows you, I think, to sort of, I don't know, if you want, be the observer of yourself too, right? So that's where the quote unquote stop happens, right? Which is when you realize that, we're just going like this, and there's no judgment about what this is, but you can actually look at it too and go, this is a moment. Let's kind of bring it all together, right? Instead of being all over the place. And again, not that being all over the place isn't also a moment. Like we feel like that, like you said, all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So I think it's awareness. I think,
I agree.
yeah,
Yeah, I do agree. You're right. Yeah, yeah. Yes, it is that awareness, and it's allowing for that to be okay.
yeah,
Because I think that allows us to really embrace,
yep,
and but actually to, oh God, and now I'm going to repeat, to actually be living at that time. Whatever it needs and requires, we can give it all our attention,
hmm,
right, as well. And
yep.
yeah,
Or we can
it's
take no action on it. I mean, I think it's
yes.
right. I mean, I think that's what we do, is that we're always making these quick actions, judgments, decisions, thoughts, and then we react. The thought causes an emotion, the emotion causes an action. And I think the awareness piece is just to have the awareness, period. Awareness without judgment, awareness without analyzing, awareness, just that
Mhm.
I have awareness right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's also kind of leads to this idea of, because I think this is becoming popular too, is that this idea of letting go, right? This piece of letting go, and it's funny, the living in the moment, that moment, and the awareness, noticing what you like, you notice, and just being aware of
Yeah.
what's around is so much um a principal concept of open source forms and letting
Mm,
go as well.
that's cool.
But you can also take it to the extreme. Well, it is, and yet at the same time, sometimes we take all these sound bites and make it like a thing.
Oh yeah.
The only way to live is to let
Oh
go.
yeah. Oh yes.
It's so I kind of the same thing of, I may have forgiven, all those different aspects, from the lowest point in my life,
Yep.
but I am not going to forget. Doesn't mean I'm not letting go. I've let it go, but
Yep.
not forgetting is not to use it as ammunition, but
Yep.
it's as a building block.
Yep.
And it doesn't mean that it has to just be there, but it's something that I am not I'm aware of, and
Yep.
it's something I can tap into if
Yep.
I'm feeling really low. It's like, look, I had resilience. Look, I can still,
Yep.
maybe I'm a little tired today, whatever. But the letting go, I know, is something that's coming up over and over and over. I hear it all the time now, and
Yep.
it's also making me nervous. This idea of letting go, particularly as I think we're also in a place where, you know, um, our elders are passing, so we're
Mm,
kind of dealing with their physical and their physicalness
yep.
and their belongings, and also our attachments to it, and how we're, but the yeah, and I know people are kind of throwing it around like, oh, let
Mm,
go, let go. It's like, yeah, but wisdom is what I'm kind of trying to lead to, is that
yes.
having a sense of wisdom. It's making having the wisdom to make choices, of knowing what choice to make, when, like, the type of choices that you have to make. Sorry,
Yep.
that's what I'm trying to get at. And that's a hard one, because not everybody is, it's hard to be wise.
Wisdom is a result. It's not,
Yeah.
it's not really a verb.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah.
it's a result of experience
Yeah.
and of not
Yeah,
being
because some people
attached to
seem
the
to have
experience.
not a lot of experience and still are very wise. But yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. It's so interesting. There's a little chapter in my book about that, about flow, and about this whole kind of what you're saying about, like, there's a whole industry made around like what flow is supposed to be. I'm with you on the way things get thrown around, but I will let that go, because that's going to happen when people try to capitalize on something which, you know, which is actually ancient wisdom, but that has been
True.
turned into, into commerce. Um, So there's a, for me in my work, that's definitely, there's a real distinction there that's really important. But I realize that if I just connect to my values, my true values, and continue on without any sort of caveats of, oh, but that's not me, but rather just be me, that I will attract the clients, I will attract the people
Yeah,
that listen to what I say, as something that resonates with them, and therefore it becomes their wisdom, if you want, not mine. But it becomes, it's like dance. It's like when this movement comes out of me, but then it's synthesis, right? You dance it, it becomes something different, and then someone sees you dance it, it becomes something different again. And when I see someone seeing you, dancing my thing, like
exactly.
it just keeps going forever. And that's beautiful, right? That's the
Mhm.
infinite nature, I think, of everything. I mean, dance is, we can talk about dance because that's our language. I mean, there is something beautiful and primal, obviously, about what we do as dancers that nobody can take away from us. I mean, I don't dance every day. Well, I dance kind of for myself every day, but I don't, like it's not part of my routine per se, but it's such a big part of me. And it'll
Yeah,
never go away, like I know that. Like even when I stand somewhere or something, people just say, "Wow, you have a physicality, right?" But it's a groundedness, right?
yeah,
It's not a carriage. But
yeah,
it's a centeredness. At least that's what I came away from. That's what I'm so grateful for with
yeah,
dance, because it's rooted in my gut, in my body, in my heart,
yeah.
in my soul, in my mind, in all of it. Of
Yes, I do know.
course you do.
All that. All that. Say that for me. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
But I do believe in all of that. Yeah.
All right. So
Yes.
how do you recharge?
Huh. How do I recharge?
Yeah.
Uh, I sleep for sure. I recharge by sleeping. I recharge by giving myself time. I recharge by also not telling people that I give myself time, but I know I give myself time.
Good.
Um, there's this whole idea of like, oh, you should just learn to say, no, I can't do this or that. And then, you feel guilty. Um, I do say no, but I also do just keep my time to myself so that I don't have to explain myself. So I do give back to myself. That's how I recharge. And and then what happens in those moments or those times are just resting and I sleep. I really try and sleep. I can sleep within 7 minutes of laying down.
Ooh, you're lucky.
Yeah, I know. Sorry. Yeah,
I
knock
wi-
on
I
wood.
wish
It
I
doesn't
could do
always
that.
happen. Really? Oh, I give a lot of time to myself to do the whatever, whether it's reading, um, meditation, being outside, hikes, gardening.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but don't tell anybody. Cut this. I'm kidding. I'm joking. So you can leave this part in. So I do give back
Really,
to
she's
myself.
very, very busy. She doesn't do any of those things. She only
Nothing.
works. She
Nothing.
says yes
Yeah.
to everything. You're so funny.
Yeah.
Funny.
But I've also known that in order for me to rest is also to do it privately,
Mm. Yep.
right? I think that's what it is. So I don't make a pronouncement of like, I need to sit in the morning.
Yep.
I need to this.
Yep.
I will dance, work out, and do all of those things, but it's my private time that I don't feel any obligation
Mm.
to share with folks. But I think it's not because I'm selfish or anything, but I feel like it allows me to really rest
Yep.
because of that, or to rejuvenate, or to fill up, because it's a combination, right? It's like to
Yep.
rest, to rejuvenate, to refresh, to rethink, to contemplate, to be bored. I also like to sit and just stare.
Let me ask you, I've never asked anybody this.
Uh-oh.
Usually I ask people, most people think that Yvonne is, but the truth is, but I'm not going to ask you that. I'm going to ask you to finish this phrase. At
Uh-oh.
the end of the day, I know.
Oh, at the end of the day, I know that I have a home to go to. At the end of the day, I know I have myself to come home to. At the end of the day, it all kind of goes back like this.
It's okay. Don't analyze it. Just keep saying it. Keep doing
Yeah.
it.
At the end of the day, I know I can sit in my backyard and be quiet. At the end of the day, I'm also really, it's taken me a while, but it's been the last, I would say, 10 years that I can be all right with the fact that um, I'm all right with the fact that I need a lot of quiet time and I can come home. Uh, oh boy, at the end of the day, I know I can go in my fridge and pull up a glass of wine too. And yeah, it's just, I don't know, whenever I think of that, I think at the end of the day, I think I know I can always come back home to me in a way, whatever
That's
that is
beautiful.
metaphorically, because I think one of the things that I have recognized for myself and also embrace. Most people think that I'm always buzzing around, but it kind of ties back to what I do when I need to refresh, is that I'm not hugely social. I'm not an extrovert as I think most people think I am. I need a lot of downtime, and I think that's why I'm always okay to have my downtime as my own time, and I never feel guilty to take that.
Mm.
So yeah, I don't know, what would yours be at the end of the day, Lisa Hopkins?
At the end of the day, I know that I will have done the best I can,
That's amazing.
and it doesn't always look the same, and that's okay.
Yeah, I like your answer better because it's sort of true.
You can take my answer.
That's
You can
so,
take my
I can
answer.
take your answer. Okay, at the end of the day, well, I guess it is true. At the end of, but I don't know when my day ends because my day is always different. So I think that's partly it too.
Okay, but you're analyzing again because I mean, think of
Now
it
I am.
metaphorically, right? At the end of
Yeah,
the day,
I know. At the
after
yeah,
all is said, maybe it'd be easier if, after all is said and done,
yeah.
right?
After all is said and done, yeah, I
But you
know.
know what was
I'm
really,
okay. I'm gonna pause there. Okay, yes,
you know,
yes.
you know
What?
what was really beautiful is before you started analyzing it all, like when you really started saying it, before you started saying, before there were caveats,
Yes.
um, your energy shifted completely. You were very centered. You actually physically went there. It was really beautiful. I just want to point that out.
Oh, thank you.
But then your
Oh,
brain came in.
yes, I know, eh? Like it's yeah. So sometimes, so,
Take the
yeah,
time you
maybe.
need. Even, you know what? If you were my client, I would say take the time that you need. You know, that time that you do give yourself. And I want to honor you
Yes.
for that because that's amazing. You know what you need and you take it, and that's great. You don't like that maybe you have to sneak around and do it or whatever. I get that. But at the end of the day, you do it. And so I
Yeah.
want to honor you for that. But what I would encourage you to do is to apply that not in such a only to just like at the end of the day or physically like that, but
Oh, yeah, yeah,
like in
yeah.
in a conversation or anywhere. Like take the time you need. Buzz if you want to buzz, but don't buzz if just because you do you know what I mean? Like if
Yeah,
yeah,
I do. I do. And I
like
do. And I
seriously,
think,
you deserve that. We all deserve that. And things will shift if you do that. Things will shift for you and certainly for others because they're so used to seeing you a certain way. But you know how to do that for yourself, but do that for yourself in context with others. For you though, not for them, for you. And see what happens. That's what I would say to you.
okay, I'm taking it in and I'm looking at you now.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Okay. I'm going to say what makes you, and then I'm going to say one word, and then you say whatever comes to mind. There's
Oh
no right or
boy.
wrong. There's no
Of
right or
course
wrong.
there isn't. Until okay, yes, go ahead.
There's no right or wrong. It's a game. I know you don't like games. There's no winning or losing. So it's not even a
I
game.
know. No.
It
Okay.
just is what it is. So make it whatever you want it to be. Okay. So you can use space if you want. You can do rapid fire if you want. You can just say this is stupid if you want. You can do whatever you want. So what
All
makes
right.
you What makes you hungry?
The meal that I'm eating.
Fair. What makes you sad?
People's judgment, yeah.
What inspires you?
People,
What frustrates you?
humanity. It's all wrapped in
It's
one.
all wrapped
I
in.
include myself in it too, right? Like
Yeah, for
I
sure.
frustrate myself. I can't, sometimes I slap myself for thinking the things that I've been trying to like, shift. Yeah, but it's human and it's a learning game.
What makes you laugh?
Oh, oh, Lord. People. What makes me laugh? Um, Living things, really. Like,
Yeah.
people, usually little kids. I don't know, comedy. Many things make me laugh, actually.
What makes you angry?
Opening the news to that,
Mm,
the aggravation of, I, and sometimes even myself. Haven't I learned long enough? Why do I keep um, reverting back to this? So, I can say that safely. I can say
mm.
that about what I see around us
Yep.
sometimes too.
Yep.
Um, yeah, that's what, yeah.
Yeah. And finally, what are you grateful for?
Oh, the life that I have, the fact that I'm living. I don't know any other thing, so I am grateful that I'm a, I'm for the thinking, talking blob that I am, and the potential and possibility that is that I get to meet and be with, and even myself, all of it. That's exciting. I always find that exciting. Possibilities. Uh,
Ditto.
yeah.
Ditto. So, what are the top three things that happened so far today?
Eating my breakfast. Like I'm always
Nice.
amazed at how fortunate I am to wake up and go, I got food,
Yeah.
you know? Um, and another thing, okay, this is sorry, not that flushing a toilet, because yesterday happened to be World Toilet Day. So you never
Oh,
really think about it, but talking to you, that's not three, and there's more. Talking to you is three. Like
yeah.
it's in talking to you, the flood of good memories of the time that we had. That was joyful. Not to say that it wasn't hard and it didn't come with its ups and downs. We all had that in our life, right, together. But looking back, I would say that, yeah, being we were I don't know, I always think that I'm really fortunate that I got into York the time that I did. It could have been any other year, but I didn't get into, the year that was before us or the
Yeah.
year after us. We got into our year and we're all still friends.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's just all of us wanting to, because it's effort in what we have to make the effort, but
Yeah.
you know, I'm still friends with different people. I think that, yeah, so that's also a top thing that's happened. So thank you for that. Thank you for the
Yeah.
that's a top invitation.
And what's something that you're looking forward to today? And then also, what's something you're looking forward to in the future?
Well, later today, I am going to connect with someone who used to work with us. So it's nice to catch up. Also a Yorkie.
Oh, cool.
Uh, yeah, so also nice to see where they're at. They're younger than us, so
Mhm.
I'm excited to see her just because, yeah, I know that she's kind of moved on and she's got big things in life, and so it's always great, right, to
Yeah.
hear like,
Yeah. 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 That's cool.
their lives have grown and changed, and I'm like, yay! So I am looking forward to that. Yeah, I'm looking forward to in the future. Oh boy, that's a whole long-term thing. Um, I guess short-term future is probably, I love Christmas. I don't know if you know this, but I love
Mm.
Christmas. And I know that I celebrate Christmas just because I happen to be born into Catholicism. Is that how you use Catholic?
Yep.
Yes. So I'm not a good practicing religious person, but I like the pageantry. I like the coming together.
Yeah.
I like the excuse of
Yeah.
coming together. And
Nice.
so I am looking for that, forward to that, because it's also going to be a break as well.
Yeah.
So people's brains tend to wind down, so it's a lovely time to connect with many people. They seem to have space. People seem to have space for each other.
Yeah.
So even if it's once a year, so I kind of look forward to that.
I cannot thank you enough for taking the time to talk to me today, really. It's been really special. Truly.
It's been very special for me too, and I'm really so grateful that invited me because it's been a while. It's really been amazing just reconnecting with you. It feels the same and yet different.
I agree. It's a new chapter. I've
Yeah,
been
it is.
speaking today with Yvonne Ng. Thanks so much for listening. Stay safe and healthy, everyone, and remember to live in the moment. In music, stop time is that beautiful moment where the band is suspended in rhythmic unison, supporting the soloist to express their individuality. In the moment, I encourage you to take that time and create your own rhythm. Until next time, I'm Lisa Hopkins. Thanks for listening.